This is The Bottom Line with Onimwa.
Hello there, and a very warm welcome to the program, The Bottom Line. Today we have the singular pleasure and privilege to have on board Barrister Felix Agbor NKONGHO, a human rights activist, the director of the Center of Human Rights and Democracy in Africa, president of the Faco Lawyers Association, unorthodox, non-conformist, and sometimes even stubborn. And when we met him today at his premises, we had the privilege to be two of us. I myself, Onimwa, and Jackie Nyingxia. Welcome to the program. Barrister, you are welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me on the show. But just a slight correction, I don't want to impersonate. I was the former president of the Faco Lawyers Association. I am the president of the Center for Human Rights and Democracy in Africa because I have a director who is my boss. If I say I'm the director, I used to be the executive director, but I moved on to be the president of the board. So I don't want my director to file a complaint against me for usurping her position.
Jackie, you are welcome to the program. When you hear the barrister talk, how do you feel? I mean, this is the first time you're talking to an iconic personality like Barrister NKONGHO.
Well, it's a privilege to make a program
Barrister, what is trending today in the country is the prolonged absence of the head of state from the country. He's been out for more than 30 days. And media outlets have been fast in saying that, oh, he's that, he's not coming, is this. I mean, is the health of the president supposed to be a public concern for every Cameroonian?
Yeah, I mean, the president of the country represents the country. He's the father of the nation and he incarnates the nation. So whatever happens to him touches and concerns each and every Cameroonian. So yes, Cameroonians are worried about the health of the president. I don't understand why everyone is talking about it for the time being, because this is not the first time that he has gone abroad and he has been incommunicado, but as I say, there's no smoke without fire. But I personally don't like to dabble on issues that touch in people's from an African perspective, and from somebody who's older than my dad, I would not want to get into the issue about his health. But there was a communique yesterday from Gregoire Wona, the deputy secretary of the ruling CPDM party, Famen Dongo, who also is a senior cadre of the party. We had one from spokesperson of government, Rene Sadi, communication minister. And last night, we had another one from the director of civil cabinet, all of them saying that the president is fine, the president is going to come back. And I personally hope and pray that the president comes back, because nobody wants to wish death for anybody. Okay, we are not God. And I think that no matter our political differences, you don't want to wish death for somebody. But I look at beyond the president's health, and I think the discussion is very rampant on social media because probably of the constitutional implication. Why do I say so? We've read on social media where people saying that the president doesn't have a right to stay more than 40 days and it's 35 days. But that is not what is in the constitution. If I take my mind to my Cameroonian constitution of 18 January 1996 as amended in 2028, Article 6.4 clearly talks about the vacancy. I mean, death, resignation, or incapacity. But that has to be done by the Constitutional Council. So no law says the president cannot stay out of the country for 40 days. That's the first thing. He has a right to stay out of the country. He might be out of the country also to do business on behalf of the state. He might be there also for vacation. But I'm not getting into that. But what I want us to understand is that no law says the president cannot stay out of the country for 40 days. And no law equally says that if he stays beyond 40 days, he has to be impeached or he has to be destituted from power. I think that's something that has to be clarified. And if there's incapacitation is a legal issue, not a fact. You understand? So it's in law and not in fact, in the sense that it's for the Constitutional Council to determine whether there's incapacitation. And for the time being, nothing like that is happening.
And when we see the reaction from the members of government, you have the spokesperson of the government, Rene Sadi, there is a Minister of State, Fami Ndongo, there is Owner, people coming left and right. I mean, if the government were organized, the spokesperson of the government will come out and say, this is the situation of our president and the story is laid to rest. But now you see this one is saying, this one, it also tells something about the government. It's not an organized.
No, but not only that, it's not organized. It's they like fire brigade measures. You understand? I mean, there's a government that is known to only react. They don't. They're not visionary, because if they were visionary, nothing stops the government to announce that the president has gone for a routine medical checkup. Mr. Biya is 91 or 92. He has a right to go for routine. I do routine medical checkup. So it's in a test communique. The president is out for a routine medical checkup. Or the president went to China, came to Switzerland, and decided to go for his medical checkup. Nobody. But the thing is that in the era of social media, if you don't communicate, you would have to respond to the social media communication. No, this is not 20 years ago. This is not the days of CTV, Cameroon Tribune alone, old media wherein you say something today, the news has to be the next day. This is 247 information. We're like kind of an information super highway. So there is no way that if they don't communicate, the average Cameroonians will not communicate. And to me, you start giving credibility to rumors, you understand? And also the disorganized way in which the communication came out is like kind of a panic reaction, a knee-jerk reaction. Yes. I mean, if this is, I think, I am not in government, but I think it's the domain of the Minister of Communication. If he had worked with the party and the Director of Civil Cabinet, Ayolo, and they put their words together, and they come up with one communication. We have 4. And I was reading on social media, somebody was saying that 3 is supposed to, that Atanganji will always come up with his own, the Prime Minister. I mean, this is just joking, but I think it's a way also that they handled it.
Another trending issue is the arrest and detention of the leader of the armed wing of the Anglophone crisis, Dr. Cho Ayaba Lucas. He is a German citizen who was arrested in Norway. I mean, many people are jubilating on the arrest of Ayaba Cho. Is that something that we should celebrate, Barrister?
Well, I don't know whether it's something that one should celebrate. But when somebody who is accused and there are allegations against the person of committing crimes against humanity and war crime, there's also the need for accountability. There's a need for justice, because justice is not a one-way traffic. Justice is a three-way traffic. Justice for the accused person, Cho Ayaba, justice for violating the law, and then justice also for the victims. So you have to look at justice from that Hydra-like perspective. So personally, I think he should have his day in court. I'm not one of those who believe that he should be extradited, because I want him to be tried. If he's found, the allegations against him are founded, I want him to be tried in a judiciary system where he respects the independence of that judiciary system, where he knows that it would be not only seen to be done, but justice would actually be done. If they extradite him in Cameroon, there will be a perception that justice is not done. And no matter what becomes the verdict, he would think he did not have his day in court, So I personally, am I jubilating? No. Am I sad? No. I just want justice to take its course. And from the statements that has made online on social media, where he has incited violence against people of the Southwest and Northwest, where he has ordered killings of people, gruesome killing, cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment. I think if the prosecutors in Norway have a cogent case against him, then there is a need for, just like any other person. I mean, not only about Ayaba, it's about the Sakos, it's about the Christians, but also it's about those in the military who have ordered, the subordinate, superior subordinate relationship in international criminal law. Those in the military also who have ordered the execution of people, those who burnt down whole villages, those who extrajudicial killings, So they too should be held accountable. Justice grinds very slowly. Today might be the day of Ayaba. Tomorrow will be the day of some of them also. So there will be no victor or vanquished. The essential thing is that the victor should be Cameroon. The victor should be the victims of these gruesome, these egregious crimes that have been committed on the people of the Southwest and Northwest by so-called liberators who came up, who ended up becoming persecutors, and equally by government who owns a duty to protect the civilian population, but ended up behaving as if they were dealing with a conquered territory.
Yes, as a legal practitioner, it has been said that Ayaba Cho actually refused bail. I don't know whether you got that information. Refusing bail for somebody who's been indicted for war crimes and stuff. Is it true that he actually refused bail?
Well, the thing about refusing bail also is that, for example, if I take a Cameroonian perspective, crimes which are punishable by the death penalty, they will not grant you bail. The fact that they didn't grant you bail doesn't mean you are guilty. Okay, I think what I read about Ayaba, if I got it right, was that they were worried that he might tamper with the witnesses, so that might be a reason, and the kind of crimes that he might be accused against, because these are crimes that touch, they are not only national crimes, but these are crimes also that touch and concerns the international community. If it's war crimes and crimes against humanity, then it also goes to the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Law and international crimes that can be tried and punishable in most Western countries. For now, we are waiting for the complete picture. I think we don't have a complete picture of what is happening. One thing that is certain is that somebody fitting the description of Ayaba was arrested in Norway. Sources say it's Ayaba. They've not unsealed the indictment against him. But as time goes on, we would have a clearer picture and we would know the kind of crimes that they are alleging that he committed.
Talking about the extradition of Ayaba Cho to Cameroon, I know it's going to be difficult because we don't really have Cameroon and Norway don't really have that extradition treaties, that type of diplomatic relation where you can extradite one person from each country to the other. And secondly, some people are saying that it is like not even lawyer and Salai who actually work for this man to be arrested. It is like the United Nations or something like that. You don't have a clear picture of what happened.
No. I think that it's a combination of many things at a micro and a macro level. Salai would have done something wonderful also. Let's give to Caesar what Caesar. But also Cameroonian civil society, religious leaders, they have been calling on those who use social media, those who live in the diaspora, who are inciting violence against people in Cameroon, those who are ordering the kidnapping, extortion, and maiming of hands and limbs, that they should be tried. So it's a combination of many things that have been put in place. I know people who had written to the King of Norway. I know groups that had written to the King of Norway. I know civil society leaders who had also written to the Norwegian government. So it's not just about the UN or Salah. I think it's about justice. It's about the right thing that has to be done. Because if you look at a victim-centric approach towards the justice sector, then there is a need for Ayaba and others also. Okay, people are talking about Ayaba, but there are others also who are equally as responsible as Ayaba. So let them have their day in court, irrespective of who contributed, whether it's 1 or 50% towards Ayaba's arrest. The most important thing is that the person has been arrested.
And there are also some, maybe we'll call them conspiracy theories, saying that while in detention, he said he's not going to go down alone. There are some people in the government, the military, as you're saying, that will also be called to book. Did you get that point of view?
I read it on social media, but if you know Ayaba, Ayaba has never been a coward. Ayaba would not. I don't think Ayaba made such a statement, and I think it's more about conspiracy theory. Where did they record such statements? And it would be foolhardy also to really think that that's what has been going on. So as I said, there is need for us to just wait and get the full information, from the Norwegian justice system. We would have it, be it an open or a closed trial. We would have the indictments. We would know the charges against him. We would follow the proceedings. We would know what's happening, because it concerns Cameroon, especially those in the southwest and northwest, the victims of Ayaba's egregious crimes. They also are waiting for their day in court. They also are waiting to see how things would unfold.
And from a personal perspective, I am a person with serious linkages and concerns in the northwest and southwest. Since the arrest of this Dr. Ayaba Cho, there has been some normalcy. When I say normalcy, on the 1st of October, for example, these boys did not come out, write on the walls of homes, distribute leaflets and other seditious material. It was like his arrest is a plus for the cause of justice and peace in these restive regions.
Well, you see, this is a conflict that's topsy-turvy. It goes ups and comes down. So you cannot really read. I mean, ideally, in a real-world situation, after the arrest of an iconic leader of the separatist movement like Ayaba, violence would have to go up, and then it will have to come down. But I think also that it sent a shock wave to some of his cohorts, his leader, those in the leadership circle, because it's a big fish, okay? Like if you compare when Taylor or Milosevic was arrested within the context of a particular conflict, a lot of them will be scared. Let's not pretend, because they thought they had found safe haven.
Exactly.
In abroad, right. and now they would measure their language, their tone, the kind of rhetoric would have to change, because you are just a few minutes to an arrest, and you saw how some of them were trying to be dodgy, to dissociate themselves from other factions were trying to throw Ayaba under the bus, that they exaggerated it.
I listened to Chris Anui was saying that this man, he actually changed the course of the struggle.
No. But Chris is also supposed to be a war criminal. I remember when Chris said that UN and humanitarian workers should be killed. All Bamileke people, non-Anglophone, should leave Kumba. Okay, and I think I sent him a message. This is not something. At that time, Chris was a spokesperson of the movement. This is not something you cannot in this century make such callous statements. You cannot be representing a group and you make such statements that the Bamile case should. These are people who, it's kind of their ancestral home. There are people, there are Bamile case who grew up in Fiango in particular. I went to school with some of them. They don't speak French. They don't understand their dialect. Kumba is home. They used to support PWD Kumba. They are the ones in the US.
Like Bamenda.
They are the ones in the US contributing a lot of money to support the hospital and to support people who are victims of a war that the Chris Anu are perpetuating. And all of a sudden, humanitarian workers. When I was working in Sierra Leone at the International Criminal Tribunal, that was the first time in international criminal law where it became a crime, to attack UN or humanitarian workers. It was considered a war crime, and people were sanctioned. People were sentenced for that. So what Chris and Co. they said at that time, and the others, okay, it's clearly punishable by international law, punishable by the law. So he should not try to just throw Ayaba under the bus. They are birds of the same feathers.
And you were recently in the US. I'm sure you met some of these guys like the Emmanuel Tatos, the John Bakuros and the rest. Most of them, they have a low profile now. Are you saying that it's because of the arrest of not only Ayaba Cho and some of these
No, I think
key figures in America.
I think some are toned down. Some are toned down the rhetoric, because you see the biggest scam is a scam that is sold to the people of the Southwest and the Northwest, or a so-called phony Ponzi scheme called My Trip to Buya. And all of them who were responsible, and like the Lord's Prayer says, in what I've done and in what I've failed to do. And in law we talk about commission and omission. All of them who committed or who omitted to stop their supporters from committing the atrocity that they are committing, they have the bloods of our people in their hands. They might spin it, they might blackleg people, but they are the ones who are the traitors of this revolution. Because I mean, this was not the plan. This was not the plan. They hijacked it, and then they pitch Anglophones against Anglophones. You know, when you don't, they reduce us to a kind of North Korea, where the supreme leader says something and everybody must follow. So yes, they have also realized their folly, because the average person in the Southwest and Northwest, they have disconnected from them. The time when whatever they said was like gospel truth, people are no longer buying it. Now they are instead terrorizing the civilian population. People are not respecting their ghost towns because they like them, but it's because they terrorize them. And how do you bully, coerce, and terrorize the people that you want to rule if you have a state? It beats my imagination. So all of them, and I don't want to make them feel important by even calling their names, because I'll tell you, these are wicked people who have ordered the killings of their brothers, their sisters, children. People have lost loved ones. They cannot go to their villages to bury them because they are asking for money. They have kidnapped people, tortured teachers, tortured parents, from the cardinal to Miss everybody. You know, so they have destroyed the fabric of the Anglophone society that I grew up knowing it. So they would have their day. They would have their day. If not in the hands of the law, the day they will come back to this country, the same population would go after them.
Jackie, I saw you nodding your head as if you are in approbation of what he's saying. You have something to add?
Yes, I have something to add concerning the arrest of Ayaba Cho. I wanted to know if you were also arrested back then as a result of the struggle, or something else prompted you.
Yeah, see, I've known Ayaba for. So let me tell you a little story. In 2000, I used to be the president of the Southern Cameroon's European Coordinating Committee, and we had gone to the EU Commission and Parliament to give a memo. Ayaba was with me, and Larry Ayamba and others, you know, and we made speeches. I only saw the video when I was in jail. So I've known Ayaba. He has always been consistent in his separatist mindset, which I respect him. I might disagree with him, but I respect him because he's been consistently consistent when it comes to separation and the use of violence. So I give it to him. You know, once in a while we used to exchange ideas. There are times when he's done his video and said that he regretted that I was not killed. But that's a story for another day. You're not God, so it's only God that determines why somebody should be alive or dead. But if we go back in 2017, yes, I was arrested as a result of the crisis. I happened to be the president of the Cameroon Anglophone Civil Society Consortium. That came as a result of the teachers, lawyers, and civil society coming together to clamor for more respect of the bicultural nature of the country. The Anglo-Saxon, the common law was an issue that we felt was being eroded. Our educational subsystem, we also felt that they were trying to francophonize us in our educational system, and we felt that coming together, we would raise the profile of the complaints that have been over the years. We were not inventing anything. We just followed in the footsteps of the Munzus, the Anyangwes, the Elats, you know, the Ngwane George, the Watches, the Batebisongs, the Fosongs, the Enkonta Elats. We were just following in their footsteps, you know, the Pa Ayambats and the guys of Scapo, the Fongalas and Coke. We were just following in their footsteps. It was like a relay. We just took the baton from them and we continued. Unfortunately, as I said, you know, it's a government that only knows how to react, you know. It's a government that they have a hammer, so everything is a nail. They have to hit it. They don't know how to sit with people and actually talk. They don't know how to make concessions. And we are where we are also as a result of the failure of the government to manage a small situation that morphed into a conflict that has led to the killings of thousands of people, more than 600,000 plus internal displaced, more than 300,000 we have gone as refugees, affecting the economic life wire of our regions, where some kids have not gone to school for 7 years, where we have had all sorts of horrible crimes committed. But you know, to me it's a failure of governance. It's a failure of leadership. It's a failure of having a vision as a leader that this thing that is growing today might morph to something bigger.
And Barrister, when you were in the United States recently, that rhetoric amongst the diaspora, talking about fundraising, they want to do this, but I hear inside sources and very credible sources say that rhetoric has gone down. Did you have the same feeling when you were in the United States?
Yeah, well,
talk about
I mean, even prior to going there, I have friends who used to contribute for Amber. You could tell on social media, you had people who were preaching the gospel, but as time goes, they realize that this is not a war that you win with a gun. It would end through some concessions, a negotiation. And how do you win? By killing your own people? I'm sure, because you see, I either describe it as a poorly rehearsed drama or a hastily rehearsed play. You don't, the people were not prepared for this, okay? And they sold them. You know, they sold them something that they could not deliver. It's technically kind of 419. You understand?
It's a scam.
Yeah, it's a scam. So they sold them something they could not deliver. And after a while, the population, they're coming to their self-knowledge. They're realizing that, oh wow, you know, the so-called Amber passport, the so-called Amber currency. And I was shocked by educated people. I know professors in the university who bought into that scam. So after a while, you know, it's like people were under, I don't know, they were not hallucinating. What word would I use? They were under a trance, and then all of a sudden they've come back to reality. And some of those who used to lead, they have dissociated themselves. Some of their Man Fridays, their vuvuzelas, their choir boys, they are no longer shouting. Some of them were insulting others as blacklegs. Today they are getting into their inboxes and asking them, what do you think we can do? How can we find a solution? So it's also a gradual process of self-realization. And because they cannot provide that support, that's why also kidnapping increases, because they used to raise a lot of money to send back home for guns, and because the criminal justice system also in the US and in the UK also is closing. The dragnet is closing towards a lot of them. Some of them have been indicted, some of them have been arrested, jailed. It might not be because of the crimes they're committing in Cameroon, but violating the domestic laws of their country. You know, for example, if you buy weapons to ship to another country from, if you live in America, that's a crime in America. So in one way or the other, a lot of them have toned down their rhetoric, and some also people who genuinely believed in the struggle don't want to be associated with the killings and the blood. So people who, they had good intention, not everybody had bad intention, but and this is not what they bargained for. They did not expect that we would kill our own people. So some of them, especially those who were highly educated professionals and who were making money, who started contributing in the beginning, they have taken a backward seat.
Yes, Barrister in Yaoundé, recently you weighed in on the candidacy of Keremuna to become head of state of Cameroon. Is it because of what you people call esprit de corps, or is it genuine support for somebody who sees Keremuna like somebody who can do the job?
So the first thing is that I'm not in politics. I don't do partisan politics. I always been not involved in partisan politics because of the hero worship, the Man Fridaysism that I don't believe in. And Akere is a civil society political party candidate, so I look at him from a civil society perspective. But he's someone that I've worked with on other things, and somebody who has integrity, somebody who has a vision, and who is very patriotic, who has the love of this country, and who is someone of English extraction, but who has lived almost all his life in Yaoundé, meaning that he can understand the country better. It's Anglophone, but he has lived all his life in Yaoundé. He can understand how he can bring both competing interests together, not only about fighting corruption, but also about building strong institutions and working on governance, rehabilitating our economy, trying to solve the problems, but equally also
especially corruption,
involving the diaspora into the development of this country. I know he talks and he believes in dual nationality, just like any forward-looking Cameroonian, who would, because it's only people whose minds are in the Stone Age consider their brothers and sisters abroad who have a foreign nationality as enemies. All of us know how much they contribute to the well-being of this country. I have family at about 5 that have a foreign passport. My daughter has one. So, but it's just about the world. I mean, even some of those in government who are putting roadblocks against dual nationality, their kids have it. I know some of them abroad. They themselves have it. So, to me, when you see somebody who wants to take Cameroon forward, when you see somebody who has the country at heart, who is not looking just about himself, but look at the bigger picture, looking at the youths of today, these youths, how they can have jobs, employment, how you can build capacity, how Cameroon could be great again, be the Cameroon where I was growing up, where you had Cameroon Airlines, you had Camride, you had all these businesses, state parastatals that were thriving, and today we become the laughingstock of a Central African region, which is the laughingstock of the continent, and we are trading behind. So when you meet someone that and you can attest and you can vouch and you can put your image on the line to support him, it's not just because about camaraderie, it's not about professional network, but it's more about the bigger picture, because I believe that I have a love for this country and I like leaders who show love for country. I'm not talking about leaders who show lust for wealth, because we have been governed by leaders who there's lust for power, there's lust for wealth, but there's no love for the country. So everything is about them. They don't care about the welfare and the well-being of the average citizen. So when you see someone who cares for the welfare and the well-being of the average citizen, and who is also ready, open-minded to embrace because I mean the coalition is not just about Batunia Keremuna. It's about change. It's about bringing others that you don't necessarily agree with them to build a veritable coalition that will be able to contest against the ruling party and other candidates also who would definitely decide not to be part of the coalition.
And when you talk of Akere being, with all the attributes, being a better person for the job, there are also people who are saying that this is time for an Anglophone to become president of Cameroon. After more than 40 years plus of the Biya regime, plus the 20-something years of Ahijo, this is the time for an Anglophone to become president.
Yeah, after about is it 62 years or 63 years of Francophone dominance? I think I've been one of the first person who started the campaign that it's time for an Anglophone to be president. But the thing is that it's not just any Anglophone. You understand? It's not just that because you're an Anglophone. We are talking about a competent Anglophone who ticks the boxes. Akere is a Cameroonian of the English extraction. We are not saying that you understand. What we're saying is that it is time for an Anglophone. But the Anglophone is a competent Anglophone who can, on a normal day, match start his day with any Francophone that you put in this country. So it's not like we just had a lame dog Anglophone because he's an Anglophone. He's somebody also. His pedigree speaks for himself. Cameroon Bar Association, the AU, the World Bank, the ADB, wherever he has been, Transparency International, wherever he has been, he has held his own. He has made us proud in a way that not only as an Anglophone but also as a Cameroonian, I would say I'm proud of him as a person. I'm proud of what he has done, and he's humble enough. You remember in 2018 he read the tithes and he was humble enough to say that, well, you know what, I don't think I have what it takes to win, and he stepped down for the opposition candidate. So I expect others to join the bandwagon. And I expect him also to lead the mantle for a better Cameroon.
Yes, Barrister, you were recently given another accolade by the American Bar Association. It was something that, it was a hype in the media landscape, and people talked about it a bit. What was it all about? And what do you gain? Because we always look at the financial benefits that this man must have got.
Oh yeah, you're talking about this award, this one.
Well, it's the American Bar Association. Each year, the American Bar Association awards someone who is dedicated to the protection and promotion of human rights without resort to violence in the world at large, you know. And my humble self was, after the panels met, and I was selected as the winner of the 2024 American Bar Association International Human Rights Award. Prior to that, in 2022, I won the Robert Kennedy Human Rights Award, also myself with Maximilian. It's not about the money. It's about the network. It's about the exposure, but it's also about, it's kind of a personal fulfillment, and also act as motivation to other young advocates or activists that, if you are consistently consistent and you believe in what you're doing, because it's about believing in what you're doing. At times you receive bullets, but if you don't derail because of social media pressure, and you do what you think is right, the most important thing is protect and promote human rights, you would be recognized. And even if you're not recognized on earth, someday, I mean, if we believe in a God that all of us serve, your reward might be in heaven. So it's not about money, but it's about the network. It's about the access that it gives you. It's the kind of people that you meet, and that you can use, you can leverage this network to advocate for justice in your country. You can leverage this network to speak in places where people listen to what you are saying and they take what you are saying serious. Because if somebody can win the Kennedy Award and the American Bar Association Award, it means it's somebody who is very professional and it's objective. So if you are talking to senators, like, for example, like, we think that you should put more pressure on the state, or talk to the President Biden or whoever, or to the UN, they will take it more serious than somebody else, just because also the pedigree, what you bring on the table, you know, it's also important. It's not about, there's no Article 3 there, so it's about doing work for humanity.
Yes, most you and other human rights activists always go to the West to receive this accolade, because we're thinking that maybe around you there are some people who actually see the job that you are doing, and they actually
not only in the West. I think in 2000 I won the Pan-African the Defenders Human Rights Award for Central Africa. I think in some way, yeah, I was in the office. So and I've won a lot of awards also in Cameroon. A lot of awards in Cameroon. So it's just a recognition by institutions or countries that also prioritize and respect human rights, and human rights are universal. You know, it's not a Western concept. It's something that cuts across all traditions, all cultures, all countries, all beliefs, all religion. You know, these are rights that we have as a result of the fact that we are human. So if it happens to be given by a Western organization, so be it. If it happens to be given by an African, I've got a series by African organizations. I've had lots of them internally also.
So, Barrister, I would like to find out from you the challenges faced as a prominent barrister.
I don't know if I'm a prominent barrister. The challenges that I face as an activist, okay? There are many. There are many because you have internal and external challenges. Internal challenges first is that you put your family into their lives into harm's way, and you are not always available, and it's not something they bargain for. So you have to go forward and back with your kids, with your sisters, your brothers, to talk to them that they should believe in what you are doing also. External challenges, or for example, the attacks on social media. No matter how strong you are, and I'm a very strong person mentally. I don't respond to attacks. I really don't bother what you say about me, insofar as I know what I'm doing is right. But it still gets to you. I mean, it gets to you, it gets to your friends, it gets to your family. So no matter how tight-skinned you are, it's no guarantee that your daughter, your sister, or your brother are tight-skinned. Because you who is involved, you might be strong. They must not be strong. So it's something. And it makes a lot of people also don't want to do things with you. You know, I have friends who at times in 2017, they were like, man, Masa, no one can be for you. I don't want to come to your house because if they want to come and arrest, you know. I have other partners. I mean, even in the human rights community, some of them don't want to do projects with you because they think that you're very hard, you are not middle of the road kind of. So it's a tough thing to do, but it's also very, very pleasurable. When you fight for others, you have some kind of fulfillment. When I see people, I see people, I receive messages, thank you for speaking on our behalf, thank you for doing this. It also gives me fulfillment, and it gives me the necessary energy. When we were seated here before we started this interview, I received a text from somebody who attended the meeting or Careers meeting in Yaoundé, and he sent me a text as a francophone that he liked the way I spoke, he likes to work with me. I'm like, say, I'm open to working with you. So these are also something that they make you feel good and gives you the necessary energy to continue.
Yeah, Barrister, in the situation where we find ourselves, there are some people who are calling for a transitional government after the end of this present government, because they say more than 40 years, it's a period that we need to sit together, heal the wounds of this country, and then move forward. Are you saying that we should have elections or a transitional government before we move forward?
No, there are two forms of transitional government you have, okay? There are apologies of there are people who believe that you can still have a transitional government, a government of national unity within the current context, where you have people from civil society, opposition, and the members of a ruling party form a government of national unity, a transitional government where they can rewrite the constitution and everything. Okay, so that is also one. I mean, for political science students will tell you that's also one aspect of transition. There is a transition that I believe in, is the second transition, that we need a kind of a clean slate where you have a transitional government that could be there for 3 or 4 years, rewrite the constitution, talk about the form of a state, give us a federal constitution, a rotational presidency between francophones and anglophones, all these checks and balances, and try to build
limitations and stuff.
Yes, like mandate limitation, 4 or 5 years renewable ones, no exception. The constitution cannot be amended to extend the mandate. You know, build strong institutions, and then organize, meaning that the law on electam is reformed, new people are appointed, then organize free and fair elections, and then hand over power. So these are two kinds of transition. I ascribe to the second kind of transition. But in politics, you might have to be realistic and also look at the first. Is it feasible in this grand scheme of things for a transition to be without people in the current regime? The answer lies in the will.
Yes, as a human rights activist who is based on the ground, called the ground zero, you actually feel what the people in the Northwest and Southwest are going through. From your own perception, do you think that things have changed since you started this advocacy? Things have changed? When you're on the ground, how do you...
Yes, certain things have changed. You understand? Our mindset have changed. I think the francophones, French Cameroonians, have also understood. They have accepted the fact that the marginalization is not sustainable. Don't forget, my brother. There was a time when you could not talk about federation or federalism on TV. Now you can say it from morning to night, and nobody would stop you.
For example, before you continue, during the national dialogue, when the Sultan of Fumban, Bomonja, came up to talk about limitation of mandate, he was hushed down. From he got up to talk about federalism, he was hushed down. But today, it is gradually people are...
Yeah, I remember. I was in the commission on that talked about federal. I raised the issue. Strangely enough, yesterday I was reading Professor Ngo's book, and then I saw my quotes there. I think I was the first person in that commission to talk about the need for include federalism in the whole discourse. And I was shown that Ngole Gwese, who's now ambassador to Canada, I'm not sure he politely said, well, it wasn't part of the agenda. But today, these discussions have been picked up by Francophones. So in that light, something has changed. Equally also, the special status, the regional houses has changed a little. It's more now those who are there to seize power, to seize their power and do what they are doing. I don't want them to be blaming.
Public independent.
Yes, I don't want them to be blaming government a lot. The public independent conciliator, the one in the Northwest and South, doing a wonderful job. I've worked with the one in the Southwest. She's independent a lot, that she brings people like us who are not normally invited in events to make speeches or to do workshops and training. So in that aspect, things have changed, okay? In some other aspects, there is still the too bureaucracy and the over-centralization of affairs, you know? But it's a work in progress. And I think that from the ashes of this conflict, we would have a Cameroon that would be more united, a Cameroon that would respect the bilingual and bijural and bicultural nature of the country, a Cameroon where youths from the north, south, east and west would consider Cameroon to be theirs, where corruption would be a thing of the past, where government would be on meritocracy, not where you come from, but who you are, what you can offer, what you can do. So I see from the negativity, I see a better Cameroon in future. I see a post-Biya Cameroon that would be more united, that would respect the specificities of the Anglophones, that the Anglophones also feel belonging to this country. They will feel more integrated. And the winner would be this triangle called 237. The winner would be the continent, and everybody would be happy and proud to say, I'm a Cameroonian.
Yeah, Barrister, we've been painting a glowing picture of your achievement and some of the challenges that you've gone through. We want to look at a dark part of your professional career. You were expelled from the University of Buea from what, according to what the Minister of Higher Education said, you were teaching libelous and seditious literature to students. That comes to what I said before, that you are a stubborn somebody. Do you actually? No,
I wouldn't say, perhaps I'm not, is it non-conformist? I'm not a mainstream person. I'm not a system kind of person. I would look myself in the BB mold. I'm kind of iconoclastic, the way I look at life. And I think I learned a lot from my dad also, who used to be working with Sonel, but who used to be in the trade union. I mean, expelling me from UB, I think was one of the worst injustices that has ever been done. Because I'll tell you a story. I wasn't the one teaching that course. It was Dr. Fai, my friend, who signed that course. I wasn't the one. But because Fai was Douala, wasn't coming, the HOD begged me that, Barrister, you have what it takes to teach this course. So I was saving, we were about to write the CA. We were about to write the CA. I was saving and salvaging a situation that I deserve a medal. It was like 3 weeks to CA that I started teaching that course. I taught that course 4 hours and I gave a CA. So if I had not taught that course, they would not have written a CA. They were supposed to give me a medal, not the medal that people apply for 20 LMA, because I'm not going to apply to have a medal. A medal is not something that you apply to have it. They were supposed to call me and give me a medal for salvaging a situation. But instead, they looked at a question, an innocent question that I said, that was a reflection of what was happening. And because they're probably finding a way to send me out of the university, that was an opportunity. Because they had been investigating me. I know that. They had been asking whether I come to class because I was always traveling. My students would tell you that I was one of the lecturers that was, if I am traveling, I would catch up. By the time I was dismissed from UB, they owed me hours that I had been taught in advance. My students will tell you. Let me tell you a story. I marked papers. There was a time I was going to Canada. I was teaching legal drafting, legal research and methodology, like 400 papers for 400 level students. I flew those papers to Canada. I'll get up at 2 a.m. And my friend who I was staying in Canada, he would ask me that, in Pidgin boy, how much they pay you? I said, like, my salary is like $500. He said, so only for $500 that you are not sleeping. I marked from Paris to Douala. There was one guy sitting by me. And the guy was like, he was very impressed. But you still have, I said, yes. So it was the passion to help my young brothers and sisters, to share my experiences with them. Unfortunately, because of the way the system is, I don't do Man Friday. I don't go and meet the VC and gossip other people's names. I don't worship the minister. Because if I was worshiping them, When they invited me for that disciplinary council, I would have written and I would have apobeg. But one, never went there because I didn't want to legitimize the process. I didn't do anything wrong. They did not respect due process.
That's why I say you are stubborn.
No, just to tell you that they realized that what they're doing, they were insane. Every year, my organization trains at least 50 UB students as an internship. If I was inciting students, where better to incite them than the office. But what do I do? I just train young Cameroonians, give them the opportunities that I did not have when I was the same students of the Law Society inducted me in the Hall of Fame, gave me an award there. After 2 years after I'd been expelled from them, from the university, the students gave me an award. That is in recognition of the selfless services. The only lecturer who would bring the Michelle Dawkins, I brought the Kennedy Foundation to come and talk to my students. Nobody does it on my own accord. You understand? So I just feel bad because when you see the students who I taught, and you see some who came after, they heard what I did. Most of them want to come and do an internship in our organization. So, but this country is, we would fix it after when we get to the Third Republic. Don't bother.
Barrister. Another somber episode of your professional career is the arrest in 2017, organizing a peaceful rally, peaceful protest against the marginalization of Anglophones. How do you see that one too?
Well, in the Bible, they say, let thy will be done. It was a phase that I had to pass. Was it something? No, I think it was just, it was a part of life that had to happen. I've never regretted. No hard feelings against those who deprived me of 9 months of my life, handcuffed, blindfolded. It's all part of life. And, you prepare yourself for some of these things. It only makes you stronger. And I don't have any iota of hate in my body. I've forgiven everybody. I've moved on. Because if you don't forgive, then you have a baggage. Don't look at me. Am I not a very happy person? You really see me not smiling? Yes.
Coming out of prison has made you a stronger person because you gain more accolades and more recognition from people that you never
I worked in Afghanistan for 4 years. Kondenghi is not difficult than Afghanistan, don't mind. That's what people who don't know me. I stayed in Mazar in the north of Afghanistan. I worked in the UN. I left Afghanistan, went to DRC, came back. There's not where that can be that difficult. Kondenghi is a child's play when you compare it to Afghanistan. So mentally, it wasn't any problem. Yes, as a result of coming out, network has increased. A lot of people have shown respect and support. And that's why we use that leverage to advocate for better rights of people. We use the voice to speak on behalf of those who don't have those voice. That's why when people are arrested, people have issues, they can inbox you, that use your platform to call for a release or do something. So we take it in good stride.
Yes, and then when you were in jail, the 9 months you spent in jail, did you meet the Naira, some of the Naira 11? And
no, they came. No. I'd left jail when they were arrested. One of the first people to be arrested.
But maybe other people who were arrested for the same.
No, I met lots of people who were there with us. Some people did not even know anything. Some people were arrested just being on the wrong place at the wrong time. I know people who left their houses in Bamenda to buy fish and they were arrested without an ID and they found themselves in Nkongho. I know Boko Haram people who were there for 4 years and they released them because, after 4 years they went to court, they were released. The only issue was that they didn't have an ID card. We met other people. I met Harisu, who was technically
Barrister Harisu.
Yeah, Metre de Notaire because of his connection with Marafa. So there are lots of people who were in jail that we met. Some were actually people who were involved in this, but some were just innocent young men and women.
And this issue of arresting people in a given jurisdiction to another, it is like this government is Yaoundé that is supposed to be the place that dictates.
Yeah, if you follow the jurisprudence of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights in the Scapo case, the Scapo case versus the state of Cameroon, when they normally call the SCNC, but it's the Scapo Ngume and Co. and Scapo versus State of Cameroon, I think in 1999, they said clearly that you cannot arrest people from one part of the country and that government should not do it. But when you look at the 2014 anti-terrorism law, it waters down what the African Commission said in Banjul, and it's now easier for them because the military court in Yaoundé would have jurisdiction for crimes committed in all over the country. But I still think that these people who are arrested in the southwest and the northwest could be tried in the military courts in the southwest and the northwest also, because it's not only about not understanding the language psychologically. I mean, you take him out, put him to a strange environment, it's not easy. What of his family? For example, when I was in jail, if somebody had to visit me, the person would spend at least 50,000. So you leave Buya, even if you pay 5,000, a little to 10,000. You cannot see me the same day. You have to go to the military court and get an authorization. It takes at times 48 or 72 hours. You're staying in Yaoundé, then you come there before you go. So just to visit somebody. So look at the economic impact on a family that is uncomfortable, that they are crying, that they have arrested perhaps their breadwinner, their father, their son or their mother. Yeah. So I think it's something also that they have to revisit. I know a lot of people are being tried in the military court here in Buya, but these are those who are not high in the chain of command, which is not a bad thing. But those who are high in the chain of command, they still send them to Yaoundé, and to me that would amount to psychological torture.
Jackie Nyinsha, you've been listening to the barrister, listening to him in awe and this is about baptism of fire. What do you have to tell him? Because we are rounding about interview. Any special question you want to ask him or something that you maybe want to get from him?
Yeah, I have one question concerning the fact that you were a leading member of the Anglophone Civil Society, and it is their activities are illegal at the moment. So what is the way forward?
Yeah, the consortium was banned on the 17th of January 2017 by Mr. Rene Sadi, who at that time was Minister of Territorial Administration of Benin. And the same day we were arrested. So we didn't really do any other thing after the ban. So I expected them would have waited for us after the ban and see whether we would contravene any law. The way forward is for the state also, and the separatists who have taken up arms. We've had a grand dialogue. I mean, that's a step in the right direction. But you cannot just have one grand dialogue and expect everything to come to an end. So you still have a series of dialogues, little ones. I think that's what the Swiss process was meant to do, and also the Canadian process, which all of them failed as a result of government's in-house fighting. And so yes, there's still need for both parties to keep on talking, but I think that it's the non-state armed groups must make a lot of concession. They need to officially announce that kids should go back to school. They call for a ceasefire, because government has been making concessions, no matter how small they are. But the non-state armed groups have never ever made any concession. Everybody they arrest or they kidnap, or everybody they kidnap, they either kill, they pay ransom, or government releases them. What is their bargaining chip? Look at what Hamas did. They're talking about negotiations with Hamas because Hamas has people that is keeping. If Hamas had killed everybody, there's no need for any negotiation. So, and this is something to my separatist brothers. What is your bargaining chip? If you want your people that government has to read them, what are you giving in return? You have to make concessions. So because they also are arrogant and they don't want to listen, learn from the way world politics works. And they should understand that nobody in the international community is supporting them. We are the ones Anglophones are suffering. So how do they open other channels of communication and discussions with the state? How would the state also look at for the time being, let us empower the regional houses. It could be a phase like what happened in South Sudan. Everybody talks about South Sudan. There was a time when they had a referendum, they had a federation, and then a move to independence. Is it possible that we can have 10 years of special status? Empower them. After that, if we are not happy, we have 10 or 20 years of federation, 10 states. After that, we have another time or 2 states before so you end up making everybody feel comfortable. It's difficult to leave the current states of affairs here and move to a separation. Okay, we've had special status. Can we now have a 10-state federation? I am a two-stater. But I understand that my voice might be in the minority. And in politics, in activism, you have to learn to consider it's not only what Bala wants that has to. I've met a lot of Southwesterners who support what I do, but don't support the fact that I'm a two-stater. I'm ready to make concession for us to have a 10-state. Okay, if I understand that the government doesn't want to use the word federation, what do? Empower the special status, make it in a way that we elect our governors. If you like, don't call it federation. After all, what is in the name? You understand? We have federal countries that don't have, it's United States of America. It's a federation.
Like Germany.
United Kingdom. Chairman, you understand? Yes, so if there is a possibility for us to have a real devolution of power, you could call it federation, you could call it regionalism, you could call it Canada has its own. The French have in Quebecois, the Basque. Canada has the Quebec area. If you can, the average person is interested in the powers that you give them, for them to be able to elect their governors, for them to be able to put food on table. Nomenclature is not something that is the elites, the politicians, the activists who are focused on nomenclature. So if you cannot give us the nomenclature, make sure that you give us a veritable devolution of power that we can give it whatever name. After all, if you call it a federalism or federation and you still don't give us the power, it doesn't mean anything. You understand? We have a regional council now. Scrap the position of governor. Let the regional president be the head of the region. Let the commissioners in the regional houses take over. They could be like the delegates. Take over, empower the councils, make local councils, just like in Nigeria. Let them be able to carry out their activities, not like what we have in Cameroon, where the head of the council is technically the SDO. They cannot vote. They vote the budget, he has to approve. We need to move this over-centralization, francophonization and over-centralization of things done by the regime. It's not sustainable. It might not be in my lifetime, but it will not work. There will be a time in this country, I might have gone, that there will be genuine devolution of power. For us to live together as peoples, Anglophones and Francophones, there must be devolution of power.
All right, Barrister. So do you think both parties are ready for another dialogue?
They would be ready, but I don't see government ready for it. I don't see, because in the eyes of government, they believe they are winning. They are not winning because they have made a lot of things, change things. They are winning because the people of the Southwest and Northwest are tired. They are winning because the people of the Northwest and Southwest are disappointed with their leadership. They are winning because they just want life to go back to normal. Meaning that if you think that you have won and you don't find a solution, in the next couple of years, when they would have a more visionary and dynamic leadership, where it's all embracing, which puts the people first, you might have another crisis. So government should take advantage of this period, to try to bring fundamental changes. They have brought changes, but I want them to bring fundamental changes that people can sit and say, man, at least government has done a lot. It's time for you guys to stop this your madness and let's build. Some of you get into elected positions. The ideas you have, come and be mayors. But then also governance has to come into play. Free and fair elections, transparency. That's why we think that the transition that I believe in, that I support at Cameroon, can usher in a situation where you can win the hearts and minds of those who have taken up arms against the state to build and to reconcile and to reunite after a Truth and Reconciliation Commission is set up, and then build a stronger and a better country.
Barrister, it was a pleasure talking to you. I know we can go on and on to talk about some of these topical issues, but it's been a wonderful experience sharing all the ideas that you have. Thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks for having me. I know it's been a long, protracted interview, back and forward. I'm not available, I'm available. But you know what? In English, they say better late than never. Finally, we've done it. So Thank you, and may God bless each and everyone. God bless you. Continue to do the good job. We need the fourth estate in whatever we are doing, because they also look at some of the things that the average person would not do. They inform, and also they help in shaping and determining policy. So it's always good to have a strong, vibrant press that plays the role of checks and balances.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
This is The Bottom Line with Onimwa.